A very good evening, aspirants. Welcome to daily newspaper analysis of Shankar IAS Academy. Today's date is 4th of May 2024. Displayed here are the list of news articles that we are going to discuss today. So without much delay, let us get into the news article discussion. Look at this question about methane hydrate. Here 3 statements are given and you have to find which of the statements given here is or are correct. Firstly, know that methane hydrate is a crystalline solid that consists of a methane molecule surrounded by a cage of interlocking water molecules. So we can say that methane hydrate is an ice that only occurs naturally in subsurface deposits where temperature and pressure conditions are favorable for its formation. This is the reason why global warming, which leads to rise in temperature, might trigger the release of methane gas from these deposits. So this means that the first statement is correct. Global warming might trigger the release of methane gas from these deposits. Now the second statement says large deposits of methane hydrate are found in Arctic tundra and under the seafloor. See, this statement is also correct. Methane hydrate tend to form along the lower margins of the continental slopes where the seabed drops from the relatively shallow shelf, usually to about 150 meters below the sea level. And the susceptibility of gas hydrates to warming climate depends on the duration of the warming event, their depth beneath the sea floor or tundra surface, and the amount of warming required to heat sediments to the point of dissociating gas hydrates. Also remember, methane hydrates are found in Krishna Godavari basin near the coast of Andaman and in Mahanadi basin. Apart from this, basically on Earth, 4 environments have the temperature and pressure conditions suitable for the formation of methane hydrates. Firstly, sediment and sedimentary rock units below Arctic permafrost, then sedimentary deposits along continental margins, then deep water sediments of inland lakes and seas, and finally under the Antarctic ice. So this means that the second statement is correct. Now look at this third statement. The third statement says methane in the atmosphere oxidizes to carbon dioxide after a decade or 2. See, this statement is also correct. The problem with methane is that it does not vanish without a trace even though it remains in the atmosphere relatively briefly, that is 10 years on average. In the presence of free oxygen, a methane molecule's single atom of carbon disengages from its 4 hydrogen atoms to become carbon dioxide. So this means that the third statement is also correct. So what is the correct answer for this particular question? The correct answer is option D, 1, 2 and 3, because all the statements given here are correct. Now look at the second question about British colonial rule in India. 3 statements are given and you have to find which of the statements given here is or are correct. Here the first statement says Mahatma Gandhi was instrumental in the abolition of the system of indentured labor. See, here indentured labor mean a bonded labor who are hired on contract for working on plantation in various colonies like South Africa. In South Africa, Gandhi opposed the compulsory registration of the Indian population under the Asiatic Law Amendment Act of the Transvaal government. He organized a non-violent protest which led to the passage of Indian Relief Act 1914, which eliminated the extra tax on Indian citizens who had never renewed their indentures. So this means the first statement is correct. Now the second statement says, in Lord Chelmsford's War Conference, Mahatma Gandhi did not support the resolution on recruiting Indian for World War. So this statement is incorrect. In the Young India article dated 27th November 1920, the article named to every Englishman in India, Gandhi quoted his recruiting campaign in Kyara district of Gujarat in support of British cause in World War I. And this was in accordance with the promise made in the War Conference of Delhi. So this statement is incorrect. Now the third statement says, consequent upon the breaking of salt law by Indian people, the Indian National Congress was declared illegal by the colonial rulers. This statement is correct. The Salt March started on March 12, 1930 and continued for the period of 24 days. In this particular period, the salt law was broken by Gandhi on April 6th when he collected salt from mud. As the Salt March ended in the month of April 1930, between June and August, several Congress working committee and leaders were arrested and Congress as a political party was declared illegal by the British administration. So only the second statement is incorrect here. If you could eliminate the second statement, you can directly arrive at the answer. UPSC is no more asking questions like these, but still use it to recall or revise your static part. So the correct answer here is option B, 1 and 3 only. Look at this editorial article. It emphasizes on the urgent need to refocus efforts on achieving the Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs), particularly in the light of setback like COVID-19 pandemic. The article highlights the interconnectedness of various SDGs and the importance of their implementation, and it stresses the importance of sustained commitment from government, strengthened international cooperation, and enhanced accountability mechanism to achieve SDG targets. So in this news article discussion, let us understand various important points mentioned in the article using our mains answer writing discussion. This topic can be asked in the syllabus mentioned here. Now let me read out the question for you. Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs) are a global effort that has one major objective: achieving a better future for all. If India is to achieve its goal by 2030, it must build a mechanism for effectively localizing the SDGs. Discuss. See, this is a very straightforward question which asks you to discuss the need for localizing the SDGs in India. So in the main body of the answer, firstly you can write about the steps taken by India for localizing SDGs, and in the second part you can write about the challenges in doing so. So let's start with the introduction part. Here you can write about SDG. SDGs, or the Sustainable Development Goals, are a set of 17 global goals established by the UN as part of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. The goals are designed to address a wide range of interconnected global challenges and thereby promote economic, social, and environmental development. Even though they are an umbrella goal, the localization is necessary to achieve the local based needs. For those who don't know, localization is the process of understanding the needs and goals of a local area or a community in the light of SDG goals to determine the means of implementation and indicators to measure and monitor progress. So you can write these points in the introduction part and move on to the main body of the answer. Firstly, let us discuss about the steps taken by India for localization of SDG. Firstly, India has initiated the localization process with the implementation of TADP. TADP can be expanded as Transformation of an Aspirational District Program. This was initiated in 2018. Through this scheme, SDG implementation has been taken from the district to the Gram Panchayat level. Secondly, the government has taken various steps to provide access to the basic services and promote welfare of people. Keeping in mind the SDG goal, the various schemes like Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, in short called as AB PMJAY, was initiated to provide health cover. Then Swachh Bharat Mission to provide access to toilets in households. Then MGNREGA for employment. Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana PMAY for housing in both rural and urban areas are implemented. To improve the rural infrastructure, Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana PMGSY was initiated to provide connectivity. Then Jal Jeevan Mission for piped drinking water. Then the Ujjwala for gas connectivity were implemented. Thirdly, the localization of social schemes in the form of Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana PMJDY to provide access to financial services. The National Social Assistance Program NSAP to provide financial assistance to the elderly. Then Swadhar Grey scheme for women were implemented. Fourthly, the government, in order to foster the spirit of competition in achieving SDG, has developed the Aspirational District Program, SDG Index, and etc. According to data from Niti Aayog, India has achieved various results in terms of SDG, like 330 million more people have gained access to improved sanitation, 233 million people have obtained access to clean cooking fuel. Then electricity coverage has improved from 88% to 97%, benefiting 183 million more people. Then health coverage program covering over 500 million people have been achieved. So you can write these points in the first part of the answer. Moving on to the second part of the answer, here you have to write about the challenges in achieving SDGs. See, firstly, the challenge of limited resource. See, when it comes to localization of SDG goals, Panchayat are at the forefront of developing SDGs. They face various challenges like lack of knowledge, lack of financial resources, lack of infrastructure, and etc. Secondly, there is a huge mismatch between the infrastructure of rural India and urban India. The issues like low income of rural region, then lack of diversification of jobs, increasing digital divide, increasing risk of climate change are posing a threat to achieve SDGs. Thirdly, the SDGs related to environment need a pan-world cooperation to achieve them, but the various COP summits ending without any tangible benefit, shows mutual distrust and lack of cooperation. So you can write these points in the second part of the answer. Now moving on to the conclusion part, here you can suggest some of the way forward approach to solve various challenges. So you can write that streamlining of the institutional framework is necessary. In this context, we need to work on increasing the structure, operational readiness and financial power of our local bodies to achieve SDGs. Secondly, leveraging the strength of women collectively. Let us see an example. See, as of now, 76 million women have been mobilized into SHGs, that is self-help groups under the National Rural Livelihood Mission, and there are 3.1 million elected panchayat representatives. But the issue is they are operating in silos without mutual cooperation. So for localization of SDGs to truly work, there is a need to leverage the strength of both PRIs and SHGs through a partnership. Thirdly, learning from the best practices. See, the states like Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana have done better than the others when it comes to some SDGs. The success of these states should be emulated by others for reaping the benefits of SDGs. So you can write these points in the conclusion part. So in this particular discussion, we saw what are all the steps taken by India to achieve the SDG goals and what are the challenges in achieving the goals with the way forward. So with these learned points, now let us move on to the next news article discussion. Have a look at this article. According to the article, India's mining output growth slowed to 1.2% in March, marking a 19-month low compared to February's 8% growth. This slowdown in mining output suggests a possible decrease in overall industrial output for March, with official data set to release on May 10 by the National Statistical Office. Know that mining contributes 14.3% to the Index of Industrial Production (IIP), which measures industrial output. In February, industrial output saw a boost, reaching a 4-month high of 5.7%. This was largely driven by growth in mining 8% and electricity 7.5%. Manufacturing, which accounts for the largest share, that is 77.6% of the IIP, grew by 5% in February. Currently, economists anticipate a slowdown in industrial output growth for March, with estimates ranging from 3.5% to 5%, citing the deceleration in growth of the 8 core sectors. So this is what the news article is talking about. So today let us concentrate only on coal mining and revise its basics for the prelims. Firstly, let us see the geographical distribution of coal reserves in India. See, coal reserves in India are primarily located in eastern and central region of the country. Major coal producing states include Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, Madhya Pradesh and West Bengal. India has several coal fields where coal reserves are concentrated. Some of the important coal fields include the Jharia coal field in Jharkhand, the Rani Ganj coal field in West Bengal, Singrauli coal field in Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh, and the Talcher coal field in Odisha. Now talking about the types of coal reserves. See, India has various types of coal reserves including bituminous, semi-bituminous and lignite. Bituminous coal is the most abundant type of coal found in India. According to the Geological Survey of India (GSI) and the Ministry of Coal, India has substantial coal reserves. The total estimated coal reserve in India are around 319.02 billion metric tons. Talking about its regulation, see, the primary regulation governing coal mining in India is the Mines and Minerals Development and Regulation Act 1957, in short called as MMDR Act. This act provides for the regulation of mines and the development of minerals including coal. Coal Controllers Organization (CCO) under the Ministry of Coal is responsible for the implementation of the Coal Mines Conservation and Development Act 1974. Know that Coal India Limited is responsible for the majority of coal production in India. It operates under the Ministry of Coal and plays a significant role in coal exploration, production and distribution. Now let us see some of the environmental impacts associated with coal mining one by one. See, coal mining adversely affects the ecosystem as a whole. Firstly, it is usually associated with the degradation of natural resources and the destruction of habitat. This causes invasive species to occupy the area and thus posing a threat to biodiversity. Secondly, huge quantities of waste materials are produced by several mining activities in the coal mining region. If proper care is not taken for waste disposal, disposal, mining will degrade the surrounding environment. Thirdly, the method of waste disposal affects land, water and air, and in turn the quality of life of people in the adjacent areas. Then the mining of coal also emit massive amounts of particle pollution, contributing to heart disease, lungs disease and lung cancer. So these are all the ill effects associated with mining. Also remember, there are several principal emissions which result from coal combustion. Firstly, sulfur dioxide SO2, which contributes to acid rain and respiratory illness. Then nitrogen oxide NOx, which contributes to smog and respiratory illness. Then particulates, which contribute to smog, haze and respiratory illnesses and lung diseases. Then carbon dioxide, which is the primary greenhouse gas produced from burning fossil fuel, that is coal, oil and natural gas. Then mercury and other heavy metals, which have been linked to both neurological and developmental damage in human and other animals. Then finally, fly ash and bottom ash, which are residues created when power plants burn coal. Know that in India, coal contributes to 1 lakh premature death annually, and the poor are hit hardest. So these are all certain facts that you have to remember about coal mining in India. Don't forget this fact. Coal India Limited is responsible for the majority of coal production in India. It operates under Ministry of Coal and it plays a significant role in coal exploration, production and distribution. Remember this. So with these learned points, now let us move on to the next news article discussion. Look at this news article. According to the news article, Indian National Center for Ocean Information Service, in short called as INCOIS, warned several coastal states about possible high-energy swell waves over the weekend. It has also recommended to suspend all operational and recreational activities near beaches on Saturday and Sunday. Fishermen and coastal residents were cautioned to watch out for strong waves that could surge intermittently in low-lying areas. These swells started about 10,000 km away in the southern Atlantic Ocean on April 26 and are heading towards the Indian coast. Know that the combination of these swells and high tide could lead to flooding in low-lying regions. This is why this particular alert has been issued by INCOIS. So in this backdrop, let us revise about INCOIS from the prelims perspective. See, INCOIS is an autonomous organization which is functioning under the Ministry of Earth Sciences. It was established in 1999 and the organization is located in Hyderabad. Also know that INCOIS is a unit of the Earth System Science Organization, in short called as ESSO, which is based in New Delhi. The main mandate of INCOIS is to provide the best possible ocean information and advisory services to society, industry, government agencies and the scientific community. Now let us go through the functions of INCOIS one by one. See, they are like the superheroes of ocean world. They provide round-the-clock monitoring and warning services for tsunami, storm surges and high waves. INCOIS also help out our fisher folks by providing daily advisories on where to find the best catch. They provide advisories on the potential fishing zones and they make sure to let the fishermen know in Hindi, English and 8 other languages. They can receive these advisories through SMS, local radio or even TV. Then INCOIS deploys and maintains a suite of ocean observing systems to collect data on various oceanic parameters. They try to understand the processes in the ocean and predict any changes. They also provide short-term ocean state forecast for the next 3 to 7 days. This information is invaluable for the fishers, shipping industry, navy, coast guards and anyone else planning activities at sea. Apart from this, INCOIS archives all observational satellite and other oceanic data at the INCOIS data center and get this available to students, researchers and anyone who needs it. So these are all very relevant facts that you have to remember about INCOIS from the prelims perspective. So these learned points, now let us move on to the next part of the newspaper analysis, which is the preliminary practice question discussion. Look at this first question about INCOIS. 2 statements are given and you have to find which of the statements given here is or are correct. See, here the first statement is incorrect. INCOIS is an autonomous organization which is functioning under the Ministry of Earth Sciences and not the Ministry of Science and Technology. So this statement is incorrect. Now the second statement says it provides daily advisories to fisher communities to help them easily locate areas of abundant fish in the ocean. This statement is correct. They provide daily advisories to fisher communities which help them to easily locate the areas of abundant fish in the ocean. This also helps the fishers to save both fuel and time used to search for fishes. So here the correct answer is option B, 2 only. Now look at this question. Here coal mines and the states are given. You have to find which of the pairs given here or correctly matched. See, the correct answer here is option D, all of the above. All the coal mines are correctly matched with the states. This we saw in the news article discussion itself. So the correct answer here is option D. So with this, we came to the end of the news article discussion. If you like the video, hit like, do comment, and don't forget to subscribe to Shankar IAS Academy YouTube channel. Thank you so much for listening.